Okay, let's get into it. We've got a massive stack of source materials in front of us, and they're all pointing to this really crucial inflection point. We're talking about the first week of January 2025, specifically the 5th to the 11th. And the sources are clear. This isn't just another week. It's a highly pressurized environment, and it's basically designed to test everything we've built.
Everything. Professionally, financially, personally. All of it.
So our mission today is to really unpack this material and pull out some practical, actionable wisdom, because the core idea here is it's demanding. The sources say this week is a litmus test for structural integrity.
Right. And if something you're working on, a project, a relationship, even a new boundary you've set, if it survives this week, the material assures us it has real substance.
But if it falls apart?
Then you have to face that hard truth. It was probably already unstable to begin with.
To really get a handle on this test, the sources use this central image. They call it the Hall of What Holds. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's important to picture it not as some, scary courthouse. It's a quiet, sort of austere stone building. And people show up there not because they're being dramatic, but because they feel this deep, almost physical pressure behind the rhythm.
A pressure to account for things.
A pressure to account for the promises they've agreed to become. And the allegory is very clear. The city doesn't care about your intentions. It wants to see receipts. It wants outcomes.
That distinction is so key. Intention versus outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it specifically that's generating all of this pressure?
It's the sheer density of planets piling up in Capricorn.
Okay.
And Capricorn energy is just inherently disciplined. It's strategic, it's demanding, it calls for what the sources term emotional adulthood.
Which isn't about age.
No, not at all. It's about moving past the blame game and focusing only on, verifiable action, follow through. It's about balancing ambition with real self-respect.
So it's not just the usual New Year's stress. It feels more like the universe is checking our homework.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Okay, let's dive into that first section then. Assessing the structures we've all been relying on. The material talks about this crowded internal room.
Yes. Internally, everything feels amplified this week. Our desire, our ambition, our expectations, they're all just screaming for attention in this one crowded space inside us.
So even if life looks calm on the surface,
that internal noise makes it completely impossible to ignore any unstable parts of your foundation.
And this internal pressure, the material suggests, is, it's really unforgiving for anyone who's been coasting.
Exactly. This is where we meet two characters from the StoryScope allegory that really represent this conflict, Mara and Isambard.
Tell us about Mara. I have a feeling we all know a Mara.
Oh, we do. Mara is the personification of coasting on charm and hope. She's the one who sends those, oops, I totally forgot about that, lol texts.
Right.
Her pockets are heavy with unsent invoices and unkept assurances. Her internal ledger it fills itself with all these forgotten promises. It's a perfect picture of decay disguised as being flexible.
And then you have Isambard.
A complete contrast. Isambard builds things slowly, methodically. His projects might take longer, they might cost more upfront, but when the tremors come...
his work is still standing.
Perfectly standing. The source even describes his exhaustion as honest tiredness. It's a sign that the effort went into real structure, not just... performative hustle.
And that contrast, it really lays out the hall's rules. The system assesses the structure, not the intention behind it.
Precisely. We all intend to be good with money or to have clear boundaries. But if our actual execution is just based on emotional habit reacting instead of planning this Capricorn environment it exposes that instantly.
And it's not trying to be mean.
Not at all. It's not punitive, it's diagnostic. It just shows you exactly where the foundation is weak.
I think that is such a crucial point for anyone listening. You're not being judged for failing, but maybe for not building a system that actually supports what you value. So how do we apply this?
Well, the material applies it to everything. Work, money, relationships, boundaries. This is the time for crystal clear expectations, especially in financial conversations.
So no more vague agreements.
None. If you've been putting off nailing down the specifics with a partner or a client, this week forces that conversation. And you should only be making long-range plans with people who have already proven they are Isambards.
People who actually show up.
People who show up and deliver. And that hits on relationships, too. You have to notice who adds genuine, grounded stability to your life and who adds stress but calls it excitement.
Oof, yeah. The drama that they call passion.
Exactly that. It's about seeing that the integrity of your life really depends on the integrity of the people you let near your core resources, your time, your money, your energy.
Okay, so if all this talk of structure and accountancy sounds a little dry, we need to talk about the massive sparks of energy that hit right in the middle of this week.
Yes,
Section 2 is where we get into these high-octane conjunctions, and we're talking about rare and powerful Kazemi conjunctions.
we are. And for anyone who's not familiar, you can think of a Cassini as like the sun hitting a huge high-power refresh button on whatever planet it's touching.
So it's not subtle.
Not at all. It's a supercharge. The planet steps into the very heart of the sun and comes out with this intensified, purified focus. And we get two of them, almost back to back.
Wow. Okay, the first one is on Tuesday, Sun conjunct Venus.
This is our necessary reminder that life isn't all spreadsheets and stone halls. The sources call this the moment affection meets accountability.
I love that phrasing.
It's a really valuable day to define the terms of your affection and to invest your energy only where you can see it's being returned.
So it's like we're stripping down romance or friendship to pure behavior. No more mixed signals.
No more tolerating ambiguity. You're noticing who shows up and who respects my time. That's the accountability piece of Venus. You might have this sudden realization that someone's charm, Mars' specialty, just doesn't make up for their lack of effort.
And then Friday, we get Sun conjunct Mars. If Venus is value, Mars is pure engine.
That's right. Drive, ambition, courage, all getting that same Kazemi supercharge. Ambitions can carry you much further than usual, so Friday is the perfect day to push through resistance or make a hard decision.
But it's a disciplined energy.
Exactly. You're energized to produce verifiable, positive results.
But right in the middle, on Wednesday, is this really fascinating moment. Venus conjunct Mars. This is where passion meets that hall of what holds.
It's about turning attraction, whether it's for a person or a project, into action that actively supports your values. You're not drawn to superficial intensity anymore.
So chemistry is measured by effort, not just the spark.
Yes, by the sustained effort. You're looking for competence, for reliability, for directness. You're asking, does this attraction have the fuel to build something real, like Isambard would? Or is it just a flash in the pan?
And there's a warning there, right?
Oh, absolutely. The warning is that strength includes pacing. That huge drive can make you overwork or push too hard just to prove something. Flashy, dramatic gestures just lose their appeal. The energy has to be channeled into a solid beam, not a firework.
Which is a perfect transition to the biggest challenge of the week. Section 3, the Cardinal Grand Cross window. This runs from the 6th to the 13th, and it sounds less like a demanding week and more like a structural demolition.
It is extreme tension. I mean, a Grand Cross is this square of energy that creates immense pressure and has nowhere to go but out.
So it forces a change.
A major, non-negotiable realignment across your core areas of life, identity, career, relationships, maybe even deep family stuff. If you've been avoiding a core conflict, the pressure now makes avoiding it way more painful than actually facing it.
And Jupiter is involved, which just amplifies everything.
Everything. Jupiter doubles down on your desires and your doubts, so it creates this really visible, sometimes painful conflict between what you want right now and the long-term goals you need to commit to.
But that tension is useful.
It is. It's like extreme heat forcing impurities out of metal. It helps you finally see what really matters and what parts of your structure you've just, clearly outgrown.
The sources also point to another major player here, which is Eris, the agitator.
Eris is absolutely crucial. She's stationary direct, which means she's basically at a standstill, making her energy so potent.
And disruptive.
Very disruptive. She's the instigator. She upsets the status quo and reveals the truths we'd rather not see. She awakens this feminine warrior archetype, and she compels you to finally face a reality you've been ignoring and take action.
So how does this actually manifest? For someone listening, what does this look like in the real world?
Well, you might see legal or ethical battles come to a really sudden, dramatic boiling point. Or, more personally, you might just hit a breaking point with your job, a place where you've tolerated the bare minimum for way too long. The structure finally cracks, and you're forced to speak up, demand change, or just move on.
The old ways just stop working.
They completely stop working. And the sources note something really important here. It's about identifying the root cause of old patterns, like a lack of confidence or self-trust, but without getting stuck rehashing all the old pain.
So it's more practical, less psychological wallowing.
It's the difference between patching a leak and realizing the whole plumbing system needs to be replaced. You bypass the symptom and go right to the foundational fix.
Wow. That sounds incredibly powerful, but also just completely exhausting.
It is.
Which brings us to the end of the week and section 4. This feels like a huge warning sign. the danger of overexpansion.
It's a critical warning. This comes from the oppositions to Jupiter retrograde, which get really acute Friday through Sunday. After dealing with all that pressure all week, your emotional need for comfort, for a reward, it's massively heightened.
And that creates a tug of war.
A dangerous one between quality and quantity. It can easily lead to overindulgence.
So after you've proven you have structure, you might feel like you've earned a huge splurge, or you say yes to too many new things because they all sound shiny.
Exactly. And our emotional history, especially patterns around guilt and overgiving, gets all stirred up. You feel this compulsion to take care of everyone, or you overextend yourself financially.
Blurring the very boundaries you just worked so hard to set.
Yes. You say yes out of emotional habit, not deliberate choice. And the central danger the whole warned about is overpromising when you're in a state of high energy.
You're still in the structure check.
The material is very clear. Genuine growth, the kind that lasts, comes from choosing sustainability over speed. And this is where we need to remember Isambard's wisdom.
There's that powerful quote.
How do you know when to stop? When adding more would weaken what's already there.
That is such a vital question to ask. It's a call for moderation, even when you feel like you're on top of the world.
The Mars energy can make us, as the source says, a little too zealous. You might find yourself just aggressively knocking people out of the way or neglecting the very relationships you claim to be building all this for.
Right.
You can care deeply about your goals without drowning in the responsibility of achieving them all right now. This weekend is about honoring that ambition, but making sure it serves the structure, rather than tearing it down in one last burst of energy.
So the message of the whole week is really consistency and containment. We start with intense pressure, it forces a realignment, and we end with this clear warning against burnout.
Exactly. The goal was never perfection in 7 days. It was just to notice the patterns early enough to adjust without breaking the whole system.
We see that in Mara's conclusion when she finally leaves the hall, her new structure, her new contract. It didn't promise everything to everyone. It just promised enough.
And she has this beautiful realization that responsibility didn't close her heart, which is what she always feared. Instead, it gave her heart a frame strong enough to actually hold what she valued.
Which brings us back to that final image in the sources, the rooted plant that pushes up through the concrete in the hall.
It only appears when something real took hold. That's the structure we're building, a quiet resilience that only shows up after the hardest work is done.
And as we head into what the sources call a climactic year of 2026, there's this final thought about the collective.
It's this idea that the structural integrity of your own life ripples out. If each of us can diligently work on our own foundations, we can make a tremendous impact on the collective foundation. We are, far more powerful as individuals than we often give ourselves credit for.
So our provocative thought for you to chew on this week as you navigate this demanding period of testing, knowing that your stability supports the whole, what is the one crucial, sustainable structure, not a promise but a real system you will commit to this week that will support the betterment of all.